Every day in Australia, 19 women are diagnosed with gynecological cancers. This figure has doubled since the 1980s. A report commissioned by the Australian-New Zealand Gynaecological Oncology Group has shown that 23 women will be diagnosed with gynecological cancer every day by 2035. This is not surprising, as gynecological cancers have been the poorest funded for research over the past 20 years. Cancer doesn't discriminate. Why should the funding? Cervical cancer is one of the most well-known of the gynecological cancers. With the introduction of the HPV vaccine and changes to the self-collection method of screening, the prevalence of the virus in Australia is falling. Australia is due to exceed the World Health Organisation's 2030 vaccine target coverage of 70% by achieving 83%. And experts have stated that Australia may have the potential to be the first country in the world to eliminate cervical cancer by 2035, with some predicting as early as 2028. I take this moment to urge the public to continue getting the vaccination and their regular checks. Let's make this elimination possible. Australia has had measurable success with tackling cervical cancer, but sadly not so with other cancers that fall under this category. Due to the lack of funding for research, women who are diagnosed with these cancers are facing significantly worse outcomes than other cancers. These outcomes are comparable to that of all cancers in the 1970s. 2,500 women lose their lives every year. That is more than 6 women a day. Oncologist and scientist Professor Claire Scott has said, for most gynecological cancers that recur and cause a woman to have what we call metastatic cancer, the survival rates are as poor as the survival rates for all cancers 50 years ago. In most of the gynecological cancers, there is no early screening method. If the gynecological cancer is diagnosed early, often there is limited treatment options. And treatment options that are available can come with a high cost. Wodonga woman Tabitha Triplett discovered this the hard way when she was diagnosed with stage 2B cervical cancer and was shocked that immunotherapy would cost her over $60,000. While the immunotherapy is on the PBS, it is not on the market for early stage cervical cancer. If Ms. Triplett was to become sicker or have advanced cancer, the life-saving medication would be available to her at just $31 per treatment, instead of the $3,000 she will have to pay. Many women who have been in chronic pain have been dismissed by doctors who describe their issue as just part of their menstruation cycle. This was a familiar experience for Alexandra Neville when she presented to the doctor about her inconsistent menstruation. At 56 years, Alex was told this was normal for her age. Unfortunately, this was not the case. Alex was diagnosed with endometrial adenocarcinoma, which is a form of gynecological cancer. She has undergone a radical ovariohysterectomy, 27 rounds of radiation, 13 chemotherapy cycles, immunotherapy, and is on a clinical trial. This has not been enough. Sadly, the cancer has spread to her liver and spleen, making it inoperable and incurable. I'd like to take this moment to acknowledge Alex, who has become one of the greatest advocates for women who face being diagnosed with gynecological cancers. And she's an advocate, and I thank her openly for sharing her experience. Yet advocacy for funding parity should not have to fall to the women who are suffering these diseases. Tasmanian Senior Australian of the Year for 2025, Professor Penelope Blomfield has been a trailblazer, highlighting the disparities women face when being diagnosed with gynecological cancers. As Professor Blomfield has said, I believe that all women with gynecological cancer deserve prompt access to the best care. The recent launch of the Gynaecological Cancer Transformation Initiative marks the beginning of a unified national movement to end decades of neglect and drive real change for Australian women. The collaborative efforts of industry, community and key stakeholders in government is needed to pave the way for a future where all women have equitable access to life-saving treatment and care. A $100 million commitment is sought from the Australian Government over 4 years, including targeted research funding to action this initiative and save women's lives. In New South Wales, we need to do our part to support this initiative and act now to save lives and give hope to thousands of women and their families.